The air in Lagos that morning was thick with the scent of dew, fuel fumes, and restless ambition. The kind of morning where dreams fought to breathe against the weight of reality. Amaka Adebanjo stood on the edge of her narrow porch in Surulere, staring down at her cracked phone screen. Her Uber ride had just been confirmed, and a small smile crossed her lips. It wasn't the ride that excited her. It was the tiny spark of hope that maybe today her life would change. She wore a navy blue blouse, pressed with care the night before, and a pair of black slacks that had seen better days. Her natural hair was tucked into a neat bun, and her lips shimmered faintly with gloss. It was job interview day, another one. She had lost count after the 12th, but this one felt different. Maybe it was the company's name. Maybe it was the way her mother had prayed extra hard before she left. The Uber, a clean, sleek Toyota Camry, rolled up to the curb. Amaka opened the door and was immediately greeted by cool air conditioning and the soft instrumental jazz of Fela Kuti playing through the speakers. The driver looked back with a warm, disarming smile. "Good morning," he said, eyes crinkling slightly at the corners. "Morning," she replied, settling into the seat. "You're early." "I try to be," he chuckled, pulling into traffic. Lagos doesn't forgive lateness. His name tag on the dashboard read Tunde. That was all. Just a name. But there was something calming about his voice, something unpretentious in the way he drove, smooth, careful, as if he valued the journey as much as the destination. "You have an interview?" he asked casually after a few silent minutes. She blinked, surprised. "Is it that obvious?" "It's in your posture. You're sitting like the world is watching," he said, smiling again. That broke the ice. They talked. About Lagos. About traffic. About dreams. About the absurdity of being in your 20s and still figuring things out. By the time he dropped her off at the glass office building in Lekki, Amaka was smiling. Genuinely. As she stepped out, she turned back. "Thank you, Tunde. That was the most peaceful ride I've had in months." He nodded. "I'll be here if you ever need peace again." Days turned into a week. The interview went well, but there was no call back yet. Still, something about that morning stuck with Amaka. Not the job, but the driver. She found herself checking the Uber app more often than she needed to. One day, she finally messaged him. "Hello, Tunde. I didn't get the job, but I got hope. So thanks." He replied almost instantly. "Hope is enough for now. But next time, you'll get both." From that point, their friendship deepened. Every few days, they'd chat on the app. Then through text. Then through voice notes. They laughed. They teased. She'd ask about his favorite music, and he'd send Spotify links. He'd ask about her mother's cooking, and she'd send pictures of jollof rice and fried chicken. But still, he remained a mystery. He never spoke much about himself. She didn't know where he lived, or if he had siblings, or why a man with such class and calm was driving Uber in a city like Lagos. One evening, Amaka asked the question that had been burning in her chest. "Tunde, who are you really?" There was a pause before his response. "A man with reasons, but not secrets. One day, I'll tell you everything." Their first non-Uber outing was spontaneous. He invited her for a mala in a popular local buka. No fancy lights, no Instagram filters. Just messy hands, pepper soup, and joy. They talked like old friends. Amaka hadn't laughed like that in years. "I needed this," she whispered, wiping tears of laughter. "So did I," he said. Tunde became part of her world. He met her mother and helped fix their leaking kitchen pipe. He sent money discreetly when her younger brother needed school books. He helped polish her CV and trained her on interview questions. But still, he kept his distance emotionally. He never touched her. Never hinted at anything romantic. Until the night it rained. Amaka had been stranded after an evening interview, her battery dead, her feet soaked. She sat under a shop's eave in Yaba, watching buses splash through puddles. Then came the sound of a car slowing down. It was Tunde. He got out, umbrella in hand. "Why didn't you call me?" he asked, worry lining his voice. "No battery," she muttered, heart thumping. He reached out, touched her soaked shoulder, then paused. "Amaka, can I tell you something?" She nodded. "I'm not who you think I am." That night, he drove her to a gated estate in Banana Island. The guards opened the gates without question. Inside, the house was a mansion. Marble floors, a private library, a wine cellar. "Tunde?" she whispered, stunned. "My full name is Babatunde Adeolu Adeliemi," he said gently. "My father owns one of the largest tech companies in West Africa. I built my own startup, sold it for millions. But I lost something along the way, connection. Real people. Real life. That's why I drove Uber." She stared at him, frozen. "I never meant to lie. I just wanted to be seen for who I am. And you saw me." Weeks passed. They began dating in secret. The media would have had a field day if they found out. A billionaire's son and a job-seeking girl from Sturila. That was prime scandal. But love doesn't care for class. They'd cook noodles together in her small kitchen, dance to Asa in the living room, laugh under dim lights and whispered dreams. She didn't care about his money. He didn't care about her background. But not everyone was happy. His mother disapproved. Friends warned him. Some called her a gold digger. Amaka broke down one night. "I don't belong in your world," she cried. "You belong in my heart," he replied, "and that's all the world I need." Eventually, they went public. At a tech gala, he held her hand on the red carpet. Headlines screamed. Photos flew across blogs. But the final moment came a month later at a charity fundraiser she had organized to raise money for underprivileged girls in Yaba. Tunde walked onto the stage, holding a small velvet box. "In this city, I found the rarest thing. Not money, not fame, but truth wrapped in a smile and strength. Amaka, will you marry me?" The crowd cheered. She said yes. And in a moment they hugged and said forever ever in love.